The first page of the report trembled in my hands. I wasn't shaking because of what I'd read, but because I knew if I turned another page, my world might never look the same again. When I'd hired the private investigator, it was supposed to be a family matter, a simple concern, a father's attempt to protect his son. My son, Ethan, had been married for 3 years to a woman I never fully trusted. Her name was Claire. She was beautiful, sharp-tongued, and, in my opinion, just a little too secretive. Late-night work meetings, hushed phone calls, evasive smiles. She had all the signs of someone hiding something. I didn't tell my wife, Linda, about the investigator at first. I knew she'd disapprove. She always defended Claire, said I was being paranoid. "You see ghosts in daylight, Mark," she'd laugh. "Ethan's fine. Don't meddle." But something in my gut wouldn't settle. So, 2 weeks ago, I met with a private investigator named Tom Hargreaves. A quiet man with eyes that had seen too much. "Just follow her for a week," I'd said. "I'm probably wrong. I hope I'm wrong." He nodded and told me he'd be discreet. Now, sitting in my study with the report on my desk, I realized I hadn't been wrong, but not in the way I expected. The report didn't start with Claire's name. It started with Linda's. At first, I thought it was a clerical error. Subject observed leaving residence with unidentified male, the line read. Male later identified as Robert Langford. Robert Langford. A name that cut through me like a blade. He was an old friend. Someone I used to fish with. Someone who'd sat across from me at our dinner table countless times, laughing at Linda's jokes, pouring her more wine than anyone else. I turned the page. Subject and Langford met at the Rosemont Hotel, room 204. Approximately 3 hours spent inside. Exited separately. My throat went dry. I read it again and again, hoping the letters might rearrange into something else. Something innocent. But the next photos killed any hope of that. There she was, Linda, my wife of 32 years. Her arm linked through his, her head tilted toward him as if the rest of the world didn't exist. The photo was grainy, but unmistakable. Her hair, her floral scarf, even the small freckle near her left cheek. I wanted to vomit. I didn't confront her immediately. I couldn't. For the next few days, I walked around the house like a ghost. I watched her move through our kitchen, humming as she made coffee, texting on her phone, kissing me absent-mindedly on the cheek. I felt like I was living beside an actor performing the role of my wife. Every glance, every touch felt contaminated. At night, when she fell asleep, I'd lie awake staring at the ceiling, wondering how many nights she'd told me she was at her sister's, or running late at book club, when she was actually in some hotel room with him. And the cruelest part, I couldn't tell anyone. Not Ethan. Not my daughter, Rachel. Not even the investigator. Because if I said it out loud, it would become real. A week later, I finally found my voice. It was a Saturday morning. She was sitting at the table, reading the paper, her coffee steaming beside her. She looked up and smiled. "You're quiet this morning," she said. I looked at her for a long time before I replied. "Linda, where were you last Thursday?" She frowned. "Thursday? I was at Susan's." "Why?" I nodded slowly. "Susan, huh?" "Yes, Mark. What's this about?" I didn't answer. Instead, I slid a photograph across the table, the one of her and Robert walking into the hotel. Her face drained of color. Her lips parted, but no sound came out. "Say something," I whispered. She stared at the photo, then at me, her eyes wide, her fingers trembling as she touched the edge of the paper. "Mark, I can explain. Can you?" I cut her off, my voice rising. "Because it looks like you've been sleeping with one of my closest friends." Her shoulders collapsed. She covered her face with her hands. "Please, don't yell. The neighbors." I slammed my fist on the table. "I don't care about the damn neighbors, Linda." She started crying, but I didn't move to comfort her. I just stood there, watching the woman I'd built my life with crumble in front of me. "I didn't plan it," she said between sobs. "It just happened. We were both lonely." "Lonely?" I spat. "You have a husband, children, a home. You were loved. How is that lonely?" She looked up at me, her eyes red. You stopped seeing me, Mark. Years ago. You stopped talking, touching, noticing. I felt invisible. Her words hit hard because there was truth in them, but not enough to justify betrayal. I sank into the chair opposite her, my anger fading into something heavier. So instead of talking to me, you went to him? She looked away. That's not loneliness, Linda, I said quietly. That's cowardice. The next few days were chaos wrapped in silence. We didn't sleep in the same bed. We barely spoke. She tried to reach out, texts, short notes on the counter, but I couldn't bring myself to answer. Every time I looked at her, I saw the hotel photo burned into my mind. Ethan and Rachel noticed, of course. You guys okay? Rachel asked one evening over dinner. Linda forced a smile and said, Just tired, sweetheart. I almost admired her ability to lie so easily. That night, I called Tom, the investigator. You followed the wrong woman, I told him. He sighed. I didn't, Mr. Lawson. You asked me to follow whoever left the house after 9 p.m. on Thursday. That was your wife. The precision in his voice left no room for doubt. A few days later, Robert showed up at my house. It was evening. I was out in the driveway when his black SUV pulled up. He stepped out, looking nervous, his hands shoved deep in his pockets. Mark, he started. Don't. He stopped mid-step. Please, let me talk. I trusted you, I said. My voice was calm, but there was steel beneath it. You were like family. He swallowed hard. I know. And I'm sorry. I swear, I didn't mean for any of this to happen. Do you even hear yourself? I took a step forward. You didn't mean to sleep with my wife? You just tripped and fell into her bed. He looked down, shame flickering across his face. I ended it. Months ago. I laughed bitterly. Oh, that makes it better. He exhaled. She told me you'd grown distant. That you didn't love her anymore. I was stupid enough to believe it. I wanted to punch him. But instead, I just said, Get off my property before I stop being civil. He nodded and left without another word. After he drove away, I sat on the porch steps, staring at the dark street. I thought about the life Linda and I had built, the birthdays, the road trips, the small traditions that made us us. How easily it all cracked open. That night, I finally broke the silence between us. She was sitting on the edge of the bed, her face tired, her eyes swollen from crying. I talked to Robert, I said. She flinched. Oh. I don't want details, I continued. I just need to know, was it real? Were you in love with him? She hesitated, then shook her head. No. It wasn't love. It was escape. From me. From everything, she whispered. I don't even know who I was anymore. Her honesty stung more than lies would have. I sat down beside her, keeping a careful distance. You broke something I can't fix, I said. I don't even know if I want to. She wiped her tears. I understand. The following weeks were a blur of paperwork and silence. I couldn't stay in that house anymore. It felt haunted. Every room carried her laughter, her perfume, her betrayal. We didn't tell the kids the truth. We said we needed space. They believed it, at least for now. One night, before I left for good, I found Linda standing in the doorway, watching me pack. I never stopped loving you, she said softly. I zipped up my bag. Then why wasn't that enough? She didn't have an answer. As I walked past her, she reached out and touched my arm. For a moment, I almost stopped. But then I remembered the photos, the lies, the hotel room, and I kept walking. It's been 6 months since then. I live alone now, in a small apartment overlooking the river. The nights are quiet, but I don't mind. I fish sometimes. I read. I think. Ethan and Rachel still visit. They don't ask questions, and I don't offer answers. Sometimes, when I see couples holding hands on the street, I wonder if they, too, live behind illusions, if one of them has a secret folded inside a drawer, waiting to detonate. I don't know if I'll ever forgive Linda. Maybe forgiveness isn't even the point. But I've learned something about truth. It doesn't just destroy, it clarifies. And sometimes, when When I look at the reflection in the river at sunset, I realize I'm not angry anymore. Just tired. Tired, but free. Because in the end, losing her wasn't the real heartbreak. The real heartbreak was realizing she'd been gone long before I ever found out.